Welcome to CanIPhish. In this recording, we're going to walk you through the necessary steps to successfully onboard CanIPhish and send out your first simulated phishing and security awareness training campaign. Now, one of the things I want to start off by saying is that CanIPhish is a fully self-service platform, and we provide all the infrastructure necessary to send out simulated phishing campaigns as well as conduct security awareness training. Out of the box, we've got a variety of different phishing emails that you can utilize as part of your simulated phishing campaigns. And importantly, all of these phishing emails, and in fact, all the phishing websites and all the training modules we have are fully multilingual and support 74 different languages. So depending on whether or not your organization has employees across various regions in the world speaking multiple languages, we can help to suit you, right? Now, as part of onboarding CanIPhish, one of the first things you want to do is just look at our phishing email library and see which services we've got simulated phishing content for that your employees are also using, right? Now, all of our phishing emails, they're all lined up against some form of enterprise service that an employee might be using. We do localize these as well, right? Many of them are global services like Dropbox and 1Password, Microsoft 365, Google G Suite, and so on and so forth. But we do also localize these to particular countries around the world. So just go through these, evaluate them, and see whether or not they suit your needs. We also provide managed phishing websites, and each and every one of our phishing emails lead to some form of secondary payload. Now, that could either be a phishing website, it could be an attachment, or we could even be enticing a recipient or an employee to have a back and forth conversation, right? But either an interaction with any one of these payloads could indicate an employee would be compromised. Now, when it comes to phishing websites, we provide all the infrastructure associated to hosting these. And we've got about 36 phishing websites in our library as of today, but this is constantly growing. And these are themed again against a variety of different global as well as localized services. Now, for each and every one of these, we allow users to input some form of email address or username. We don't capture any of this. And the moment we see that an interaction has been successfully completed, we will immediately redirect that user to an education page to essentially notify them that they've fallen victim to a phishing website. Now, that is just designed for some on-the-spot training. And in fact, if we go back to that, when we go through that education website, we're providing the user with immediate feedback on what they can do to spot the phish in the future. And this includes a guided tour where we will go through the exact phishing email that they received, and we'll advise them what could they have done to spot that phishing email, and essentially what could they do in the future to prevent falling victim to attacks like this. Now, what we also provide here are training modules, and these are just out-of-the-box trainings that users can get assigned when they fall victim to phishing attacks. And each and every one of these are completely configurable, right? You can tweak just about every component that you want in these, and these again are completely multilingual. Now, these are just designed to be micro-learnings that can be completed in 5 to 10 minutes. And they always come with a video where we're educating the users up front, and then it's followed by a mixture of quiz-based content as well as educational content, right? And if a user obtains a passing score of 70% or higher, we will mark them off as complete. Now, when it comes to employee onboarding, we've got a variety of different ways that you can onboard your users. Importantly, we do support directory syncing. So if your organization uses Office 365 or Google Workspace, through just a few clicks of a button, you can authorize our Office 365 or Google Workspace applications, and we'll be able to seamlessly integrate with your directory groups and sync users across. Importantly, if your organization has 50, 100, or even more employees, using that directory syncing is going to make your life easier, because when you have employees on board or off board, we will sync every 24 hours with that directory group, right? So that way you're not going to have to manually maintain any employee lists. Now, if you did want to onboard an initial employee list, right? And you wanted to do so manually, we do have bulk import options as well as manual one-by-one onboarding. Now, if we wanted to onboard via this bulk onboarding experience, what you can do there is just download our CSV template. And if I just open up a bit of an example showcasing one, in this case, I've got the CSV upload template where we're asking for a first name, last name, email address, company, and job title. Now, the only field here that is necessary is an email address. Every other field is optional, right? And what we need this information for, what we like to have it for, is because when we send out those phishing emails, we'll personalize them to the user, right? So we will dynamically inject their first name, their last name, the company, and even their job title for some phishing emails. The only mandatory field though is that email address, right? So once we have that, what we can do here is we can go ahead, choose to upload that, and do a bulk import. Now, one thing you'll notice here, unverified domain, right? So for one of these users I've onboarded, they come from a domain called digitalsupport.link, right? And we got that notification saying it's from an unverified domain. Now, what that means is that CanIPhish hasn't yet verified that this domain actually belongs to your organization. Now, this is designed to prevent abuse of our platform because essentially we want to make sure that people are only using our platform for training purposes, all right, educational purposes, and you're not getting unsolicited messages from CanIPhish, from an organization that you don't belong to. So what we do here is we do a challenge response. Right? We'll send an email to the email address you specify in here. And if you successfully complete that challenge response, we will authenticate that domain, right? So in this case, I've just received this email, which showcases that this domain has just been successfully verified. So what I can do here is I can just click there to successfully verify that domain. And you can see that the domain successfully verified. Now what I'll do, I'll just close that. I'll close that as well. You can see the domain's been successfully verified. Now what I'll do, yep, you can see that all of that has been verified. I've got my initial employee list with 3 employees within it. Now that we've got that up and running, we'll go over to the campaign side of things. And this is where we're going to set up our first phishing campaign. Now, what we're actually going to do here is it's going to be a combination. It's going to contain simulated phishing as well as security awareness training. So what happens here is when a user or an employee falls victim to a phish, they will simultaneously be automatically assigned security awareness training to complete. So in this case, I'm going to go and enter in a campaign name. I'm going to call this CanIPhish April 2023 training campaign. I'm going to select that employee list that we just onboarded before. I'm going to click next. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select a few different phishing emails. And the reason that we're going to do this is because what CanIPhish will do is at the time of delivery, if you select multiple different phishing emails, we will randomly deliver each employee a different email, right? Or at least one of the few different that you select. So there's a less likelihood that employees are going to receive the same email if they're sitting next to each other, right? And that's really designed to prevent users or employees from, telling their colleague next to them, hey, I just received this phish and fell for it. Make sure you keep an eye out for it because that's going to skew your results. And what you can also do here is you can select your email language again, right? So if you've got employees in various locations around the world, maybe you want to send your phishing emails in a non-English language, and that's something that you can do by just selecting that drop down. Next, we want to send training material. Now, again, this is where we can assign trainings at random, or you can even deliver all trainings at once. So if a victim or an employee, they fall victim to a phishing email, they will be automatically assigned one of these training modules that can be completed in 10 minutes or less. Now, from a delivery schedule standpoint, if you've got a particularly large organization, you might not want to deliver every phishing email at once, because if you've got 500, 1,000, 2,000 employees, you might inundate your support function with reports of phishing, right? So in this case, you could stagger delivery from Monday to Friday during business hours, and we will stagger email delivery over those days and hours. Or if you want to, you can also just deliver immediately. Importantly, you can also schedule campaigns to recur on a weekly, monthly, or even quarterly basis. So if you don't want to have to go and manually set these campaigns back up every month, this is an option for you, right? Now, once you're satisfied with that phishing campaign, you click to proceed, right? Now, an important thing that I've brushed over here is Allowlisting, right? Now, typically before you send out a simulated phishing campaign, you're going to want to make sure that you allow list CanIPhish mail servers. The reason for that is because we're sending out simulated phishing material, your email security solution doesn't have a way to distinguish this, right? Unless you tell it so. So if you're using Office 365, there's a inbuilt phishing simulation capability that can essentially notify Office 365 that, hey, CanIPhish is conducting a simulation, don't block their emails. There's similar capabilities for Google G Suite, as well as a variety of different secure email gateway solutions that you might be using, right? Now, behind the scenes, it takes about 15 to 20 seconds for CanIPhish to schedule these campaigns. And you can see here that we've scheduled 12 campaigns to occur every month over the next year. And you can see when these deliveries are scheduled to occur, right? 27, 60 to 90 days, 125 days, and so on and so forth. Now, behind the scenes, I've actually just received that first simulated phishing email. So what I can do is I can just open this up just to provide you a bit of an example of what it looks like. So in this case, I've got this simulated phishing email. I'm going to click to submit this code to reset my account. Now, this will open up the LinkedIn phishing website. Right? Now I can enter in my username, but the moment I go to enter anything into the password field, I get notified, oops, I just fell for a phish, right? Now, if I jump back over here, if we go into this reporting page, now it takes about 30 seconds to a minute to update, right? So what I'll do is I'll just pause this recording for a moment while we wait for these statistics to update. Perfect. Now behind the scenes, that has just finished updating. So what we can see here is if I scroll down, for that particular phishing campaign, it looks like we've had 2 interactions. So 2 people viewed the phishing emails, 2 people clicked on the payloads, and 2 employees were compromised, right? So you can track all of that. We even have compromised evidence where you can see the source IP of where that click event occurred from. Now, importantly, training campaign. Because these 2 users fell victim to this phishing campaign, they were immediately assigned training content, right? Now, this is designed to be completed in 10 minutes or less, right? And what these users actually receive, again, if I just load this email up on the side, is they're going to receive an email that looks similar to this, right? It's going to include essentially the email address, the access token that they can log in with, and importantly, the URL to their learner dashboard. So let's go ahead and plug all of that information in, right? We'll copy this out. We'll type in admin@digitalsupport.link. We'll include that access token. We'll log in, and you can see that here I've got a 7-minute training and I need to obtain a passing score of 70% or higher to mark this off. Now, employees will receive email reminders approximately every 4 to 5 days over a 60-day period until they successfully complete that training material. Now, this is where we also get employee phish reporting as well as employee statistics capabilities. Now, employee statistics are updated every 24 hours, but we can also initiate a manual refresh, right, which takes approximately 30 seconds to complete. Now, what these employee statistics are is for every employee within your organization, we will attribute a risk score to them. And this risk score is unique to them. And essentially what we do is we look at historic simulated phishing data and we analyze how likely it is that that user is to click on phishing material in the future. And based off of that, we will assign a risk score. Now, this risk score does become more accurate as time progresses, as more phishing campaigns are conducted. Now, what we can see here is that these 2 users have a 100 out of 100 score. They're high risk, and that's because they've been involved in just a single phishing campaign and they fell victim to it. As time progresses and they've been involved in 5 or 10 simulated phishing campaigns, we'll get a better view of how likely it is that that user will fall victim to a phish in the future. And what you can do is, once you have that picture built, you can start to create employee lists, dynamic employee lists, which are just made up of your highest risk users, right? So here I'll call this high risk employees. We'll go to dynamic employee list. We'll say I only want to include high risk employees from my initial employee list. We'll sync this across, and you can see here that this is made up of 2 employees. So once we've got this, we can then go ahead and create a separate phishing campaign that is only targeting those high risk employees. And the idea here is that you run this separate campaign, and these employees are involved in this campaign until they essentially de-risk themselves out of it, right? Now we've run through quite a lot here. One final thing I want to touch on is subscriptions. CanIPhish is a self-service platform. You can manage your own subscription. We've got both monthly as well as yearly options available, right? If you choose monthly, it's no lock-in. You subscribe for a month, you can cancel at any time. If you subscribe for a year, you are locked in for a year, but we'll give you a 33% discount on the monthly pricing for that. Now, there's no other hidden costs or fees. When you upgrade, you get complete access to the platform. You can set up white labeling. You can integrate with Azure AD or Google Workspace. You can use our Report Phish add-ons. You can choose localized data storage. You can set up multi-factor authentication, and the list just goes on and on, right? At no additional cost. Otherwise, that's all I wanted to go through. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the CanIPhish team.